What is up, fight fans? Welcome back to Picking a Fight. I'm Latch, and today we're going to be looking at UFC Fight Night Lewis versus Spivak. We're going to be looking at Chase Sherman versus Waldo Cortes-Acosta. But before we get started, don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't. We're putting out videos for almost every fight night and pay-per-view, so if you're looking for content like this, go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss out. And let's hop right into it. So we got the Vanilla Gorilla Chase Sherman, who's 16-10. He's 32 years old. He's 6'4" with the 78-inch reach. And his last two was a win over Jared Vanderaa. And before that was a loss to Alexander Romanov. And he's going up against Waldo Salsa Boy Cortes-Acosta, who's 8-0. He's 31 years old. He's 6'4" with the 78-inch reach. And his last two was a win over Jared Vanderaa. And before that was a Contender Series win over Suzart. And Cortes-Acosta, although he's much newer in the UFC, he will be coming in as a -180 favorite, while Sherman will be a +155 underdog. I mean, I really like that the odds here are still really close. I think a lot of people are kind of over Chase Sherman. This is his second run in the UFC. And we kind of know how he is. While Waldo Cortes-Acosta, he's a little more newer. He's, Contender Series alumni. This will only be his second UFC fight, and he has a lot to show. But he is still very green. He is only 8-0, and Chase Sherman's much more experienced, especially against killers in the UFC. But yeah, so Waldo Cortes-Acosta, he uses a very low, wide stance that will leave him wide open for his kicks. That's what happened against Jared Vanderaa. Vanderaa took advantage of that, but I think not to the extent that maybe he could have. It didn't help that Waldo, he did not check a single kick. It's like he didn't know how to or something. But he is a very powerful striker. But it's his jab that kind of leads his offense. He was able to take control of the fight against Vanderaa with his jab stifling Jared Vanderea's offense. But I think the biggest concern is that he's still very green. Like I mentioned earlier, he is only 8-0. This will only be his 9th professional MMA fight. He has a lot to learn. And in his last fight against very experienced Jared Vanderaa, he didn't look the best. He didn't look as impressive as I think a lot of people thought he was going to. He has a ton of potential, but will it be enough to fight a much more experienced Chase Sherman? Chase, he's an orthodox striker who will be looking to continue, his small resurgence after being initially cut and re-signed to fight Alexander Romanov on short decision. And, he was able to get a pretty great win against Jared Vanderaa in a very exciting fight. He did win that fight by a finish, and he's going to be looking to replicate it. He does have decent head movement. He does like to move his head, but that doesn't stop him from getting caught, especially against Vanderaa, man. He was getting caught back-to-back with that jab, and I think Cortes-Acosta, he's much, much better at throwing this jab than Jared Vanderaa, so I think it's going to be a long night for Chase Sherman. He's going to have to constantly be moving for him to not get caught by it. I think he's going to have to be super aggressive and lead this fight, because I think we saw in Cortes-Acosta's last fight that if you're too timid, then he will be able to take control and kind of dictate the fight. So Chase Sherman, I mean, he has nothing to lose now. I think he should just go all out, become very aggressive, and yeah, just use his toughness to kind of catch Acosta with some big shots, something that Vanderaa wasn't really able to do. Yeah, and make Acosta fight backwards rather than let him lead the dance. And I think this is going to be a close fight, but I just think I'm going to have to go with Cortes-Acosta by decision. I just think he has more potential, and I think right now, although he's still green, I think he has enough to win this fight, especially stylistically. So I'm going to have to go with Cortes-Acosta by decision. I think he's going to use his jab to kind of dictate the fight and land his big shots. He might even put away Chase Sherman. Chase Sherman has been finished before. I think Sherman might be a little faster, which is, I think, can change the tune of this fight, but I think the safe bet is Cortes-Acosta by decision. But yeah, let me know down below what you think. Do you think Waldo Cortes-Acosta is maybe a little too green? Do you think we're underestimating Chase Sherman's experience? Let me know down below. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't, leave a comment down below. Go ahead and check out our other videos. We're actually doing every other fight on this same card, including the main and co-main event. So go ahead and check those out. And yeah, it's going to be a great night of fights. Do not forget to tune in. And I'll see you next time. But until then, take care.